Hello there, duelists. I'm sure everyone has heard by now that bird is the word. Getting a real surge in popularity over the past few months and becoming a serious contender in competitive play, we have Tri-brigade Lyrilusc on the playmat today. Or more colloquially referred to as Bird Up. Tri-brigade took a while to get to kind of like cruising altitude, but once they got there, they don't seem like they're going to be giving up the position of being meta-relevant anytime soon. And being combined with the monster spam of Lyrilusc, these avian nuisances can really ruffle your opponent's feathers. So let's dive in and take flight. Okay, so let's take a look at our feathered friends, starting with a centaur. So, 3 Tri-brigade Fraktall. This is the one that's kind of taken a massive hike in price. From its debut price was about $5, and after reading it, it's absolutely nuts that it was that, kind of even around there for so long. So all of the Tri-brigade cards have got an effect where they can banish Beast Warriors, or Winged Beast from the graveyard to special summon a Link monster from the extract, which is one of those 3 types, Tri-brigade sort of thing. And special summon it, so you're kind of effectively cheating your Link monsters out. They've each got their own independent effects, and Fraktall is that you can discard it to foolish one of the 3 beast types that's level 3 or lower, so it's just an incredibly versatile card and well worth its price tag, which is unfortunate. From there, the only other 3 of the Tri-brigade monsters is 3 Nervall. So Nervall's got its, the standard Tri-brigade effect, which I'm going to try and remember not to say anymore because it's just going to pad the length of this video unnecessarily. So when Nervall sends to the graveyard, you can add a Tri-brigade monster from your deck to your hand, so it's obviously a super solid extender and stuff like that. The benefit of being level 1 and stuff like that fits really nicely with the Lyrilusc package. From there, we're running 2 Kerass and 2 Kitt. So Kitt's the simple one. If it's sent to the graveyard, you can send a Tri-brigade card from your deck to your graveyard. So you could send Nervall, or just, to get a search, or just to pad out your graveyard, sort of thing for for the other monsters' effects. So it's a solid addition. Kerass can special summon itself by discarding one of the beast type monsters from your hand. So again, like a really solid extender. From there, we've got the Lyrilusc package, which I think I'm probably running a bit higher than maybe some people, but I just think it's super good. I'm kind of surprised it's taken this long for these guys to kind of see some sort of relevance. Like in terms of the cards, it's just 3 monsters. So Warbler, control no monster, special summon it, and then if it's special summoned, you can special summon a Lyrilusc monster from either your hand or your graveyard. Then we've got 3 Sapphire Swallow. So Sapphire Swallow, if you control a Winged Beast type monster, you can special summon it from your hand, and then special summon a level 1 Winged Beast monster from your hand. So you have to have both, which is a little bit, it can't just plop itself on board, kind of like akin to, I don't know, a Blackwing or something like that. It's not quite as simple as that. And then it's also got an effect where it can, if it's used as a XYZ material, the monster that's summoned can attach a monster from the graveyard, but again, that's just not really that relevant. The relevant effect is the monster spam. And from there, we've got 2 Cobalt Sparrow, which again, I feel like you could cut down. I think this one's the one that's dead most of the time if you don't go right with it, if you don't draw the right cards in combination with it. But if it's special summoned, you can add a level 1 Winged Beast type monster from your deck to your hand, which is really solid, so you can dump it with Fraktall, then special summon it out with Warbler, get a search and stuff like that, and you've not even committed your normal summon at that point. Speaking of, I think this guy's the only real committed normal summon, which is 3 Kinka-Byo. So again, I think you could cut this down, but I just really like having the extension. It's a spirit monster, which is an ancient and hated mechanic by Konami. I don't think they've printed any support for spirits in, it must be 10 years. So yeah, it can't be special summoned, and it returns to the hand during the end phase. But basically when it's normal summon, you can special summon a level 1 from your graveyard and banish that level 1 when Kinka-Byo leaves the field. But yeah, if you're XYZing or kind of linking them off together, that monster won't get banished. And again, I think it's just a super solid normal summon, and in a deck that doesn't really need it, I think it's a great way of baiting out hand traps, etc. From there, we've kind of got our kind of end board monsters. We've got one Misfarier effects Avian, you know, bounce for an Omni Negate, and then Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds, you know, stop every special summon except Wind. You know, Wind's not the most common, although obviously Virtual World and stuff like that does have it. And again, I'm not a huge fan of like Floodgates, but it's just so good here that you'd be crazy not to run it. From there, I'm running a bunch of hand traps, so that's quite good that the actual engine's quite concise, which means that we have space to run quite a few hand traps. So I'm running 2 DD Crow. Again, you choose to up or lower it, especially when it's kind of searchable in a number of different ways. So that's really good. I'm running 2 Effect Veilers to try and keep the price down of the deck, and then 3 Psy-Frame Gear Gamma, and the obvious drive that goes along with that. Obviously, drive is a bit of a brick, but in doing our combo, we can end up shuffling a card from your hand back into the deck and kind of replacing that card. So it means that driver isn't always as dead as it would normally be. Okay, so the spells. Well, you may have noticed that the monster count was quite high. I think about 31. So this is quite a short section. So I'm running 3 Jack in the Hand, which again, I think it's up to interpretation about whether you should be running this, but I just find it's just such a great consistency booster. So reveal 3 level 1 monsters with different names, and then your opponent gets to add 1, you get to add 1, the other one gets shuffled back into the deck, and it's just, I mean, I get that you're giving your opponent some advantage, but what are they going to do with a Tri-brigade Nervall or whatever it is, which I think is generally the one that you'll have to give them, which is also one of the reasons why I run the additional copy. From there, running 3 Fire Formation Tenki, search that Fraktall, get everything going. Again, it's just, you'd be nuts to not run Tenki. I'm kind of surprised that Tenki's managed to survive this long without getting the chop, but I'll take it while we can. And then I'm running some other kind of consistency boosters or extenders, 1 for 1, Monster Reborn, and the Foolish Burial. And again, I have considered taking out both 1 for 1 and Monster Reborn for the Rendezvous, but I just haven't found it that necessary. I just think that, you know, the Link Karibo play is just better and you don't need the card in deck. Alright, and cruising on through to the extra deck. I'm running 1 Psy-Frame Lord Omega, and again, I think that's probably a pretty unusual choice for this deck, but I've cut some of the more expensive elements of this, so you could say this is a budget variant maybe. But I think mostly because if you gamma, I don't know, your opponent's Ash or whatever it is, you have the Gamma and Driver on board, and they can seriously clock up the board. So it's a good way of getting short of the monsters, going to Omega, getting a hand rip, and then moving on. I'm running 2 Recital Starling. So it gains some attack for each material, but that doesn't matter. And then you can detach to add a level 1 Wing Beast monster from your deck to hand, which is obviously great. Searches a lot of our cards. What I would say is that you should be running the other Starling, you know, the direct attacker, if you happen to be fortunate enough to get Double A Zeus, which I should have bought it. It was about $20 or something like that at one point. I was looking at it thinking that card is nuts good. But anyway, I'll just cry me a river for that one. From there, I'm running 1 Salmon Great Almirage, 1 Link Karibo for my Link 1s. So again, these are kind of the protectors, you know, for your own board. I'm running 2 Baron Blossom. I'm not even going to try and pronounce like the main name. So this guy can special summon, or this girl, should I say? Definitely a girl. Don't rule 34 this bad boy. Can special summon level 4 or lower beast, you know, one of the beast types from your hand, and then if you send to the graveyard, you can draw a card and shuffle 1 back in, which can kind of, you know, get rid of the bricks, sculpt your hand sort of thing. Super good card. From there, we're running 1 double Dragon Lords, 1 Harp Conductor as the remaining Link 2s. So Harp Conductor, its effect doesn't really matter. What you're using it for is to kind of get rid of some of the cards that you may have accrued on board, you know, the barrier statues and stuff like that. Double Dragon Lord is here because you can send a card from your field or from your hand to bounce a card on your opponent's side of the field, so it's a great way of keeping your board safe. From there into the Link 3s, so first up we've got Samorg. So stuff that it points to can't be targeted. During the end phase, you can special summon a Winged Beast monster with a level less than the number of empty slots, empty spell and trap slots on the field. it's just an amazing card. It's a bit of a shame it's a link 3, but it doesn't really matter with these guys because then you can just cheat it out. From there, we're running 1 Nightmare Unicorn, just as kind of like a problem solver, and 1 Desperate Doom Eagle. I'm not even going to try again. The first name, like, have you seen the amount of consonants and weird amalgamation of letters in that? It's like, I don't know how you'd start. So anyway, Desperate Doom Eagle. While your opponent's got no monsters in their graveyard, it becomes a 4/8 monster, which is pretty big, and then it can quick shuffle 1 monster from their graveyard into the deck, which is actually also a pretty good effect. From there, I'm running 1 Rugal to round up the link 3s. So Rugal's, he's not great. I would definitely say that he's one of the ones that you could definitely chop out. He comes up occasionally though. So if he sends the graveyard, you know, your opponent's monsters lose 300 for each monster type you control, which again isn't that relevant. And then you can special summon a level 4 from the hand. And then it gets returned to the hand during the end phase, which is supposed to go with the link 4, but yeah, he's very rare that he comes up. Then finally, we're running the 1 Appaloosa, you know, it's kind of like your negator, and then 1 Ominous Omen. And I think that, you know, if I was pushing it, you'd probably, if you had an extra $20 to spare, you'd probably run 2, but I don't think it comes up that often that you need the 2. So when he's special summoned, or if one of the beast monsters, beast type monsters is summoned, you could banish a card on the field. And then if he's sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 monster of those types with a level less than the number of banished beast type monsters. Maybe I'm explaining this really poorly, but he's a good way of, he gives you resource even when your opponent gets rid of him, so he's a super solid card. Tri-brigade have got hyped for a reason. The cheating out of some seriously good link monsters can be hugely oppressive. And they've definitely got that kind of like, well, Sir Slob's patented formula for a good combo deck. They can play through hand traps, they can go first or second, and they've got no real reliance on the normal summon. So in terms of like, meta relevance, it's a 5 from me. I think I'd be wrong to give them anything other than that. I will also say that these guys are pretty fun to play. Some of the more standard and prescribed combos that you may or may not have seen on other videos are a bit linear and repetitive, once they're learned, because you just kind of end up going through the motions over and over again. But once you've got past that, they've definitely got multiple kind of combo lines to tinker with. So it's a 4 for the fun factor. I'd say in terms of the cost of the deck, if you'd bought the deck or bought the cards for the deck about a year ago, or however 6 months ago when they first came out, they'd definitely be in kind of where I'd class them as being a budget deck. However, since kind of their hype, they have definitely jumped in price. I've estimated this build at about $200, but obviously that can go way up, with AA Zeus and, maybe a second Ominous Omen. So, yeah. It can definitely go sky high. All right, so does Bird Up have higher to climb, or is it just a matter of time before it crash lands? Thanks for watching, and check out the channel for other videos.